Very good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Midday Prime. Over the next 60 minutes, it's a power-packed afternoon that we have put together for you, where we take stock of all the stories that matter to India and the world. I am Anil Thomas, and over the next 60 minutes, our look is going to be on elections in Tripura. Prime Minister inaugurating that Aadi Mahotsav, and also taking stock of relief and rescue operations that continue and rebuilding operations there in Turkey and Syria, along with updates from the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Also a big look at markets, and also taking stock of Indian women's team on a roll as they notch win number 2 in the T20 World Cup. All this and lots more. Let's get started this Thursday afternoon with the big stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Aadi Mahotsav, the mega national tribal festival at Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium in Delhi. Prime Minister says the festival showcases the rich and diverse heritage of tribes from across the country and is a step towards establishing and identifying and increasing the demand for tribal products. India and Fiji ink Memorandum of Understanding on visa exemption for holders of diplomatic and official passports. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Fiji's Prime Minister witnessed the exchange of MoUs. Fiji's Prime Minister also appreciates India's commitment towards the development of the Pacific region through collective priorities. Polling underway in Tripura. Over 28 lakh voters decide the fate of 259 candidates in the assembly elections. Election Commission deploys Central Armed Police Forces in all polling booths to ensure peaceful polling in over 300 polling stations. Nearly 1 year since Russia's full-scale offensive, 1/3 of Ukrainian population is displaced. UN Relief launches new refugees response plan. It aims to mobilize $1.7 billion to help partners continue providing life-saving protection and assistance to refugees. Fears of toxic fallout persist 12 days after a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed in a small Ohio town of the United States of America. Toxic chemical spill in Ohio, US sparks concern of long-term health impact. Angry towns people seek answers. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to participate in DD Dialogue on Union Budget 2023 being organized in Hyderabad today. FM will have a full open house interaction on the first budget of Amrit Kal, followed by a special session on the impact of budget on IT and pharma sector. And in sports, India beat West Indies by 6 wickets in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, marking their second consecutive win. Team joins England in top 2 of Group B. Well, time now to go into the stories in detail, starting first up with big news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Aadi Mahotsav, the mega national tribal festival at Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium in New Delhi today. Aadi Mahotsav is an attempt to showcase tribal culture on the national stage, and it celebrates the spirit of tribal culture, crafts, cuisine, commerce and traditional art. It's an annual initiative of the Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation, or TriFed, under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister said that Aadi Mahotsav is presenting a grand picture of India's tribal heritage during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The Prime Minister highlighted the prestigious tableau of the tribal societies of India and expressed delight at getting the opportunity to witness the various flavors, colors, adornments, traditions, art and art forms, delicacies along with music.
आदि महोत्सव विविधता में एकता हमारे उस सामर्थ्य को नई ऊंचाई दे रहा है। ये विकास और विरासत विकास और विरासत के विचार को और अधिक जीवंत बना रहा है।
Prime Minister highlighted the efforts of the government in promoting tribal products. He underlined tribal products should reach the maximum market and the recognition and demand should increase.
आधुनिक कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ने से पर्यटन और आय के अवसर भी बढ़ रहे हैं। देश के हजारों गांव जो कभी वामपंथी उग्रवाद से प्रभावित थे, उन्हें अब 4G कनेक्टिविटी से जोड़ा जा रहा है। यानी जो युवा अलग थलग होने के कारण अलगाववाद के जाल में फंस जाते थे, वो अब इंटरनेट और इंफ्रा के जरिए मुख्य धारा से कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं। ये सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास, इसकी वो मुख्य धारा है जो दूर सुदूर देश के हर नागरिक तक पहुंच रही है।
Prime Minister also informed that the tribal products find a place of pride in his gifts to foreign dignitaries. Tribal tradition is presented by India as an integral part of Indian pride and heritage on global platforms. Prime Minister said that it conveys the solutions to problems like global warming and climate change is the tribal way of life.
आज भारत पूरी दुनिया के बड़े बड़े मंचों पर जाता है तो आदिवासी परंपरा को अपनी विरासत और गौरव के रूप में प्रस्तुत करता है। आज भारत विश्व को यह बताता है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, ऐसे जो ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस है ना, अगर उसका समाधान आपको चाहिए, आइए मेरे आदिवासी परंपराओं की जीवन शैली देख लीजिए, आपको रास्ता मिल जाएगा।
While India and Fiji signed a memorandum of understanding on visa exemptions for diplomatic and official passport holders, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the agreement will be helpful in encouraging greater travel between the two countries. Fiji's Prime Minister Setwani Rabuka said his country will benefit from the agreement as many Fiji travelers go to India for medical treatment and education.
Taking bilateral ties to a new height, India and Fiji on Thursday signed a memorandum of understanding on visa exemption for holders of diplomatic and official passports. Under this agreement, diplomatic and official passport holders will be able to enter, transit or stay in each other's territories without a visa for a period not exceeding 90 days. During his meeting with Fiji Prime Minister, Dr. Jaishankar discussed long-standing ties and ways of intensifying cooperation. Addressing a joint presser following conclusion of bilateral meeting, Fiji's Prime Minister Setwani Rabuka appreciated India for co-hosting Hindi conference. Thanking India for its support during times of need, the Fiji Prime Minister called India a trusted partner. He said both the countries have developed a robust relationship.
India will always be a special friend and trusted partner to Fiji. Together we have built a robust, multifaceted partnership which covers cooperation in all major areas of nation building with a special focus on training, capacity building and capability development. India has stood by us in times of great need. We have worked shoulder to shoulder to overcome the challenges posed by the climate crises that we now face and recently COVID-19 pandemic.
Highlighting areas in which India and Fiji share strong partnership, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said both the countries have close and long-standing ties.
India and Fiji have close and long-standing ties, and I think a large part of that is really built on our people-to-people linkages. We have been privileged to partner Fiji in its nation-building efforts across various sectors, in working with it in capacity building, in areas like health, education, agriculture. We've done projects in the sugarcane industry. We have worked together in renewable energy.
The External Affairs Minister said India and Fiji discussed regional and global issues of shared interest. Underlining the priorities, he said both the countries agreed to work more closely towards strengthening multilateral cooperation.
We discussed regional and global issues of shared interest. We agreed to work more closely towards strengthening our multilateral cooperation, working strongly in international organizations. We particularly focused on the Pacific region because, again, India sees Fiji as a very important partner in the Indo-Pacific.
Dr. Jaishankar also visited the Fiji Museum and inaugurated the Girmit Gallery there, supported by India. Dr. Jaishankar also called on Fiji's President Ratu William in Suva. The leaders jointly inaugurated the solarization of the State House. This is the first of a series that India is supporting in the Pacific Islands. Dr. Jaishankar also met Member of Parliaments and witnessed the Parliament session in Fiji. This is Dr. S. Jaishankar's first visit to Fiji. Earlier on Wednesday, he attended the inauguration of 12th World Hindi Conference. The visit comes close on the heels of the first high-level visit to India by Deputy Prime Minister Professor Biman Prasad from 5th to 10th February 2023. Dr. S. Jaishankar will visit Sydney in Australia on 18th February 2023. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, let's now try and understand what exactly are the relations between India and Fiji. How has it gone about over the years? Taking a look, India's development assistance to Fiji. India is a committed development partner of Fiji. What it means is that India's assistance extends to sectors such as capacity building through human resource development and training under the India Technical and Economic Cooperation, that's ITEZ programs, which helps people in Fiji immensely. Many other benefits from training opportunities and pursuing higher education in India every year under various scholarships that have been offered by the Ministry of Ayush as well as the ICCR, that's Indian Council of Cultural Relations, which helps especially in this sector. Also, humanitarian and disaster relief assistance that's been given regularly as and when they have faced it. December 2020, tropical cyclone Yasa attack struck Fiji. India supplied a consignment close to 6 tons and as and when required, also a 7-ton consignment comprising of 14 varieties of fruits and vegetables in September 2021 to restore the livelihoods of cyclone affected people that was given to them. Establishment of Mahatma Gandhi Center for Excellence in IT, which is of immense help to the students and also helping the students in many sectors, especially there, to benefit from the excellence that India enjoys in the digital world and also in the IT sector, information technology, that's proved beneficial to the kids of or students of Fiji. Moving forward, India has also, there are many other things that India has helped Fiji. The International Day of Yoga, which happens every year from 2015, Fiji has had an active role to play, and people from every walk of life come and attend the International Day of Yoga that's been celebrated there across the year. Right from the first edition of it, every year we've seen active participation there in Fiji, especially when it comes to celebrating the International Day of Yoga. Moving forward, the 143rd anniversary of Girmit Day, it's also an important anniversary that that's been celebrated quite regularly there in Fiji, and India continues to support that, and the cultural relations between the two countries grow because of these celebrations that take place on a regular level. Moving forward to the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, it's been there for long, but a lot of exchange programs in terms of exhibitions, movies that take place, and we did listen to the Fijian president who spoke about how Indian or Bollywood movies have a great impact, a great role, and Bollywood music having a great role to play there amongst the Fiji people. Finally, Namaste Pacifica Festival of India under Aadi Mahotsav. This festival was celebrated and immensely when India celebrated 75 years of independence. Clearly under that this festival there were a lot of events that were organized, and the people of Fiji and the people of India enjoyed this cultural exchange of programs, which has helped both countries know each other better and also has helped a lot of people to people exchanges between the two nations. Well, time now to shift focus and move on to our developing story. Well, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman would be participating in the post-budget DD dialogue in Hyderabad, and is expected to have an open house interaction on the first budget of Amrit Kal. There will be a special station on impact of budget on IT and pharma sector in particular, where industry captains from deep technology, pharmaceuticals, innovation and startup culture are participating in the deliberation. Moving to elections that's taking place in Tripura for the 60-member House. Voting is on in full swing in Tripura as it's been held today. As many as 31,000 polling personnel and 25,000 security personnel of central forces are ready to conduct the election to the 60-member House in a fair, free and peaceful manner. The state recorded a voter turnout of 31.2% till 11 a.m. 60 seats of the northeastern state are voting in a multi-cornered contest in which the ruling BJP hopes to retain power. Well, for more on the story, Kunal Shinde, our correspondent tracking elections for us there, joining us from Tripura. Good afternoon, Kunal. Nice to see you there in the midst of the polling action. Let me begin by asking, this time around, it's not a contest between two parties. It's a triangular contest that we are seeing in Tripura. How does, how do people now, since it's a triangular contest, how does it become interesting, especially in the northeastern state?
Exactly, Anil. As you said that the third party, the Tripura Mahotsav has jumped into the fray, and it will be a triangular fight. It is a triangular fight indeed between the Congress, CPM, BJP, IPFT and the Tripura Mahotsav. 259 candidates are in fray. Tripura Mahotsav is as a force to reckon with. For the first time in the assembly elections, they are contesting on 42 seats this time around, and as a reason, it is a triangular fight, so to say. Anil?
Okay. Also looking at the way things have been, in this particular election, in the build-up that we have seen and in the polling that's taking place, how do you see, polling taking place? Does it build up slowly? Because we've got, close to 31% of voting that we have seen till 11 a.m. But does voting slowly build up in Tripura, or, the final hour is where we see that mad rush that people make to the polling stations to cast their vote?
See, traditionally Tripura has been registering good polling percentage in the past as well. 90% is the average polling percentage which Tripura has registered in the past. So this time also, if we talk about the polling percentage that has happened, that has taken place till now, till 2 p.m, it is more than 51%. So barely 2 hours more, and there is no mad rush to Anil, because people have been coming out in large numbers since morning. The polling started at 7 in the morning. Before that, like some of the at some polling stations, the electorates they came out at 6:30 and they stood in the queue. So even now, as you can see behind me, there's a long queue. So many of them, they are standing for like 1 hour, more than 1 hour, and even if only 2 hours are remaining now, but still the enthusiasm is the electorates do not lack any enthusiasm. Excitement is there. It's a festive mood. People are coming out in large numbers. There is like no mad rush, Anil.
Okay, Kunal, also, bring us, especially when it comes to the arrangements that the Election Commission have made. You've seen elections, especially in the northeastern states, for long. How is the approach this time different by the Election Commission, especially when it comes to making a smooth, polling booth, or for that matter, smooth or rather on the ground, making it much simpler for the voter to come and cast his ballot?
See, violence during the polls is a major factor. It's a cause of concern for the Election Commission. But this time around, the Election Commission, they have adopted zero poll violence. So as a reason, like very few incidents of violence has been reported from various parts of the state. Tripura has around 400 companies of central armed police personnel over here. So the violence is not there. It is going on in a peaceful manner. The Chief Electoral Officer, Mr. Kiran Gite, he told the media just a few minutes ago, and it is peaceful, normal. People are coming out in large number. They are casting their vote. They are braving the scorching heat. There is a lot of humidity and around here, but still the enthusiasm, people are not lacking it.
Okay, considering you raised the issue of rising temperatures there on the ground, especially when it comes to humidity, do you see the possibility, Tripura generally comes out in large numbers to vote, We've always seen roughly in that, the closing percentage of people casting their vote is close in the range of 85 to 90 and above. This time around, do you see the likelihood of that particular target being achieved?
Obviously, I feel so, because see, as I told you earlier, like till 2 p.m. it was more than 51%. So barely 2 hours more. I hope that it may cross 90%, the past record, and there are chances like it may go up till 90-95%, because at some polling stations in remote parts of this state, for example, Sipahi Jhala, at some of the polling stations it has been more than 55-60% till now. So if you consolidate all this data together, it may cross 95% till evening.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Take good care of yourself. Keep yourself hydrated while we come back to you again for more updates on the polling, especially in Tripura, where 60 seats are up for grabs. And it's going to be an interesting triangular contest, as Kunal put it for us, that's taking place there on ground zero. Well, time now to move on to our next segment, that's National Prime. President Draupadi Murmu addressed the 25th International Engineering and Technology Fair organized by the Confederation of Indian Industry, or CII, at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi. The International Engineering and Trade Fair 2023 is a business platform for engineering and related products and services. IETF 2023, along with exhibit displays, will also witness various buyer-seller meets, international conferences and seminars, business networking activities, technology assessment, strategic partnerships, vendor development, and is attended by visitors from around the world.
The IETF's journey has an impressive trajectory. This year, the event is not only a celebration of India's growth story in the engineering and manufacturing sector, but also a testimony to the nation's collaboration with the best in the world in advanced technologies. I commend the IETF and the Confederation of Indian Industry for developing this event as the leading technology and innovation forum for Indian development. I am happy to learn that representatives of 34 countries are participating in this event. What is really encouraging to note is that nearly 400 exhibitors from 25 countries are enthusiastically contributing to make the event a grand success.
Well, Ambassador Ruchira Kamboj, the permanent representative of India to the United Nations, was elected on behalf of India as the chair of the 62nd session of the Commission for Social Development on the 15th of Feb. This is the first time since 1975 that India has become chair of the Commission for Social Development. The Commission for Social Development is a functional commission of the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, and the Commission serves as the primary intergovernmental body to deliberate upon and strengthen international cooperation on social development issues. The priority theme of the 62nd session is fostering social development and social justice through social policies to accelerate progress on the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and to achieve the overarching goal of poverty eradication. United States on Wednesday lauded the Air India Boeing deal and said that the agreement is mutually beneficial for the US and Indian economies, especially the aviation sector. The US State Department spokesperson Ned Price said that it is something that we have been heralded. It's an opportunity not only for the American economy and for workers here in this country, but it's an opportunity for the Indian people as well. It's an opportunity to deepen what is already a profoundly intertwined relationship based on shared interest, based on shared values, based on our deep economic ties. And with the announcement between Boeing and Air India, these ties are all getting more deeper. United States is engaged around the world, not just in India, but around the world, in what we refer to as commercial diplomacy, seeking to find concrete, tangible, practical ways to deepen our economic ties with countries around the world in a way that benefits the American people back here at home. Union's Minister for Civil Aviation, Jyotiraditya Scindia, said that civil aviation in India has undergone a massive transformation both in its scale and meaning. Referring to the recent Air India's deal with Boeing and Airbus, the minister said that deals showcase India's growing stature at the global level.
इंडिया की नई मसौदे पर हस्ताक्षर हुई है एयरबस और बोइंग के साथ 470 विमान खरीदे जाएंगे देश और विदेश के लिए। और अमेरिका राष्ट्र का राष्ट्रपति, आप कभी कल्पना कर सकते थे कि ये वो भारत है जिस भारत में प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व के आधार पर अमेरिका जैसा प्रगतिशील देश का राष्ट्रपति ये बखान करे कि भारत की कंपनी ने मेरे अमेरिका को ऑर्डर दे दिया है और अमेरिका में रोजगार भारत के कंपनी के आधार पर बढ़ेगा। ये संभव हो पाया है केवल नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार में।
Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur today inaugurated DD News Himachal 24/7. Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that this channel will not only be seen in Himachal people, but it will also be seen in other states, and they will also be able to watch it through DTH.
आशीर्वाद से अब हिमाचल प्रदेश को अपना 24 घंटे का चैनल डीडी हिमाचल समर्पित कर दिया गया है। और ये केवल हिमाचल ही तक नहीं देखा जाएगा, हमने इसको डीटीएच प्लेटफॉर्म पर कहा है कि डीडी फ्री डिश पर देश के कोने कोने में किसी भी राज्य में बैठा कोई हिमाचली या गैर हिमाचली भी इसको देख सकेगा। ये भी सुविधा इसके लिए दे दी गई है ताकि वो भी देख सकें। इसके माध्यम से हमारे यहाँ की कला, संस्कृति, साहित्य देश और दुनिया तक पहुंचाने का अवसर मिल पाएगा।
Well, Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur also highlighted the need for promotion of tourism in the state.
दुनिया भर के पर्यटकों को आपने हिमाचल प्रदेश की ओर आकर्षित करना है तो आपको उनको अलग अलग सेगमेंट्स के प्रोग्राम बनाकर दिखाने पड़ेंगे। अगर किसी परिवार को हिमाचल प्रदेश आना है, घर के 2 व्यक्ति अगर धार्मिक स्थान को देखना चाहते हैं तो हो सकता है बच्चे ट्रैकिंग करना चाहते हो, कोई बोटिंग करना चाहता हो, कोई साइकिलिंग करना चाहता हो, कोई किसी स्पोर्ट्स इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट करने आया है तो साथ में उसके परिवारजनों को कहीं और घूमकर आना हो, तो उनके लिए पैकेज क्या है, उस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स भी अगर हम इसके ऊपर चलाएंगे तो हिमाचल को प्रमोट करने में देश और दुनिया में डीडी हिमाचल का एक बहुत बड़ा रोल हो सकता है। वो हम अवश्य करेंगे। और यहाँ के कार्यक्रमों को जो जो अच्छे कार्यक्रम होंगे हम डीडी नेशनल पे भी ले जाना पड़ेगा, तो हम उस पर भी स्थान देने का काम वहां पर करेंगे।
Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Dr. L. Murugan today visited Akashvani station in Kochi. To commemorate his visit, he planted a sapling there in the premise of the AIR station. A review meeting with officials of various media units under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting was also held. The Ministry of Culture is organizing the first G20 Culture Group meeting in Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh from the 22nd to the 25th of this month. Briefing the media about the upcoming first G20 Culture Group meeting, Secretary Culture Govind Mohan explained that India's G20 Culture track is predicted on the idea of culture for life, environmentally conscious lifestyle as a campaign for sustainable living.
Now the theme is protection and restitution of cultural property. Next theme is how do you harness heritage for a sustainable future, which feeds into the overarching theme of life. Going forward, our next theme will be how do you marry the creative economy with culture? How does culture become a sustainable source of income generation and job employment? And the final theme will be leveraging digital technologies for amplification of this country's cultures.
Well, the Culture Secretary also informed that culture programs will be organized on the occasion, including the Khajuraho Dance Festival cultural performances, and the delegates will also visit the Western Group of Temples, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
This cultural working group meeting in Khajuraho will also have on the sidelines an exhibition which will be organized at the Maharaja Chhatrasal Convention Center, which will be inaugurated by our Minister, Honorable Shri Kishan Reddy ji, and alongside with him will be the Honorable Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Shri Shivraj Chauhan Sahab, and the exhibition will be open to the public from February 25 to 28, 2023. The theme of this exhibition will be restitution of cultural property. We will also have cultural performances, including the Khajuraho Dance Festival, and the delegates will visit the Western Group of Temples, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as also the Panna Tiger Reserve.
Well, time now to shift focus and take a look at all the international buzz from across the globe. Well, people in Pakistan woke up on Thursday to the shock of a historic price hike in the prices of petrol and gas. The petrol bomb, as the price hike is termed these days, was dropped around Wednesday midnight, hours after the government unveiled a tax-loaded mini-budget in the parliament to extract 170 billion from the people through new taxes and increase in electricity and gas prices. The price of petrol was hiked to 272 rupees per litre after an increase of 22.2. This was a press release that was issued by the Finance Division that read Wednesday night, noting that the surge has taken place due to the rupee's devaluation against the dollar. The price of the high-speed diesel, that's HSD, was hiked by 17.2, kerosene by 12.9 and light diesel oil, that's LDO, by 9.6 rupees. The new price of HSD will cost 280 rupees per litre. Kerosene will be available at 202, whereas LDO will be sold at 196.6 per litre. Earlier on Wednesday, Pakistan Finance Minister Ishaq Dar formally unveiled a 170 billion mini budget that carried some highly inflationary measures but spared the commercial banks and traders of any new taxation. Presenting the mini budget, Pakistan's finance minister said Pakistan has reached an understanding with the IMF during the Jan 31st Feb 9th staff level visit, and the most important element of it was to introduce 170 billion worth additional taxes. Dhar said that the IMF program would help stabilize the rupee and ensure economic stabilization. Through the IMF program, the foreign exchange reserves will increase and the exports along with foreign remittance will also improve, and issues regarding opening of LCs, that's letter of credits, will also cease. Sri Lanka's electricity board has hiked consumer rates by up to 275%, the second steep increase in months as the bankrupt island nation works to secure an IMF bailout. An unprecedented financial crisis last year saw Sri Lanka's 22 million people suffer through months of food and fuel shortage along with lengthy power cuts. The government defaulted on its $46 billion of foreign debt and is finalizing a rescue package with the International Monetary Fund to restore its ruined finances. Households will now pay at least 30 rupees per kilowatt of hour of electricity, and the 275% increase in the lowest tariffs follows a 264% hike that came into effect 6 months ago. Larger consumers have had their rates hiked by 60% following an 80% hike in August. The World Health Organization, that's WHO, has expressed concern for the rebel-held Northwestern Syria on Wednesday, as WHO's head of emergencies program, Mike Ryan, said that the region is of greatest concern after last week's deadly earthquake. Mike Ryan said that the healthcare system in the country has been amazingly fragile, and the earthquake is the latest physical and psychological trauma of an already stressed population.
It's clear that the zone of greatest concern at the moment is the area of northwestern Syria. The impact of the earthquake in areas of Syria controlled by the government is significant, but the services are there and there is access to those people, and supplies have come in from all over the world, both in Turkey and in the Syrian Arab Republic. But we have to remember here that certainly in Syria, we've had 10 years of war. The health system is amazingly fragile. People have been through hell. And this is the latest both physical and psychological strain on an already stressed population.
A powerful earthquake of 7.8 magnitude jolted Turkey and Syria last week, turning buildings upside down, unleashing large-scale destruction and displacing millions of people in the midst of freezing winter temperatures. The earthquake has combined death toll from the disaster topped 41,000. Ongoing war in Ukraine is nearing to complete a year of unleashing devastation across the country, and United Nations' latest report unveiled a bleak picture of how Ukrainians have been paying the cost of war. According to the UN, nearly one-third population of Ukraine has been displaced due to the conflict, and in a tweet, the UN said that its new refugees response plan aims to mobilize $1.7 billion to help partners continue providing life-saving protection and assistance for refugees. The war has claimed thousands of lives, flattened buildings, caused massive damage to energy infrastructure, and disturbed food supply chains. It started on February 4th of 2022, and Russia-Ukraine conflict has been continuing with no signs of halt, triggering a migration and rendering millions of people homeless. Well, Russia, meanwhile, has said that it has broken through two of Ukraine's fortified defense lines in the east of the country. While Western countries announced more military spending on Ukraine, Russia has intensified attacks across southern and eastern Ukraine in recent weeks, and a major new offensive is widely anticipated as the first anniversary of the war approaches. The Russian Defense Ministry on Wednesday said that Ukrainians forces have retracted from the face of the Russian operations in the Luhansk region, although it gave no details. On the other hand, Ukraine's Deputy Minister, that's Defense, Hanna Maliar, has said that Russian forces were mounting round-the-clock assaults on government positions without specifying where. NATO allies, meanwhile, pledged more heavy weapons and military training to Ukraine. The decision to keep providing more weapons to Ukraine was taken at the two-day NATO defense ministers meeting in Brussels, which concluded on Wednesday. And welcoming the pledge by the NATO allies, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg on Wednesday asked for more support to Ukraine. He also said countries like the United States, France, Germany and Norway had also signed contracts for munitions that would enable NATO members to replenish their own stock, but also keep supplying Ukraine.
The new pledges of support made by NATO allies, including more heavy weapons and military training. This is critical. Ukraine has a window of opportunity to tip the balance, and time is of the essence. So yes, things are happening, but we need to continue, we need to step up even more, because there is a big need out there to provide Ukraine with ammunition. This is now becoming a grinding war of attrition, and a war of attrition is a war of logistics, and therefore this is so crucial for our ability to ensure that Ukraine wins, is able to retake territory.
Well, as NATO announced ramped up military equipments promises, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday that Ukraine's victory must truly be felt this spring. Ukraine has received billions of dollars in military spending from Western countries, and the United States has committed more than $27.4 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since the conflict began in February last year.
We have to ensure that this spring it is truly felt that Ukraine is moving towards victory. It concerns the preparation of our defense forces, weapons supply for our state, and our strategic initiative in the war. We need to break any Russian attempt to regain the initiative. I am sure we will do that.
Well, representatives of the 27 European Union countries held closed-door talks in Brussels on Wednesday to discuss a new batch of sanctions against Russia, which the head of the bloc's executive said could cost 11.8 billion in lost trade. The bloc is expected to agree new sanctions to mark the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion there of Ukraine on February 24th. But the specific proposals must yet win the unanimous backing of all EU member states. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described the looming 10 sanctions package, which could also target Iran for helping Russia's war. And the president also suggested sanctions that could cover Iran's revolutionary guards.
With 9 packages of sanctions in place, the Russian economy is going backwards. And to keep up with this strong pressure, we are proposing a 10th package of measures with new trade bans and technology export controls to Russia. This package is worth a total of 11 billion euros. We propose, among other things, export restrictions on multiple electronic components used in Russian armed systems, such as drones, missiles, helicopters. These Iranian-made drones kill Ukrainian civilians. This is atrocious. So, for the first time, we are also proposing to sanction Iranian entities, including those linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard. It's our duty to sanction them.
Meanwhile, Ohio train crash has left many in fears of toxic fallout, even as after 12 days of that train crash carrying toxic chemicals derailed in that small Ohio town in the United States of America. The incident occurred on Feb 3rd when 38 freight cars of a Norfolk Southern Railroad operated train derailed in eastern Ohio and caused a fire. It covered the East Palestinian blanketed in smoke, and the fire has damaged 12 additional cars, and days later a toxic pillar of smoke towered over the town as officials burned off a dangerous chemical known as vinyl chloride before it could explode. The toxic chemicals had spilled over in Ohio in United States, which has sparked concerns of long-term health impact premium. The anxious residents of a small town are still demanding answers. Meanwhile, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine said on Wednesday that with the air quality in the town safe, residents near the site of the toxic spill should drink bottled water as a precaution. On the other hand, state and federal officials have assured residents they are removing contaminated soil from the site, and the air and the municipal water quality was now normal. In New Zealand, at least 5 people have died and evacuations are continuing as the fresh storm warnings are announced in regions already devastated by Cyclone Gabriella. National forecaster Met Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the afternoon in areas that included the Bay of Plenty, Gisborne and the Hawke's Bay region. 3 of the areas that have experienced some of the highest levels of flooding, damage and loss of life. Met Service said that there was unstable conditions including heavy rain and hail, and Hawke's Bay is known for its fine wine, but many of the region's vineyards are now underwater along with homes and roads in the aftermath of Cyclone Gabrielle. Large parts of the region were without power and were expected to remain so for weeks, with thousands of people displaced. Prime Minister Chris Hipkins flew over the flood-hit areas and said the extensive damage had made it clear that the country was unprepared for extreme weather events and that there is a lot of work to be done. As flood waters recede, they are revealing huge destruction and homes partly immersed in silt and mud or shifted off their foundations. Colombia, meanwhile, has been rocked by protest. Thousands of people took to the streets of Colombia's major cities on Wednesday to protest social and economic reforms that President Gustavo Petro presented to the Congress. The president says that the policies presented by his government will improve access to healthcare and protect people's rights. However, opponents say that the suggested plans will aid criminals, and the demonstrations organized by the opposition right-wing Democratic Centre Party were similar in size to marches which took place on Tuesday at Petro's encouragement, where his supporters filled streets to show their support for the reforms. Petro's Colombia's first leftist president on Monday presented a controversial health reform to Congress, with which he hopes to treat illnesses quickly, increase access, boost salaries in the sectors, and fight corruption by eliminating intermediary payment services. The chasm between Israel and Palestine is set to deepen because of a new Israeli law allowing revoking of residency of Palestinians convicted of terrorism. Israel passed a law on Wednesday that would allow authorities to strip people who have been jailed of citizenship or residency if they receive Palestinian funds for actions deemed as terrorism. Israel called stipends for militants and their families a pay-for-slay policy that encourages violence, and Palestinians hailed the prisoners as heroes in a struggle against decades of occupation and deserving of support. The law comes in the wake of months of deadly Israeli raids against militants in the West Bank and fatal Palestinian street attacks on Israelis. The legislation was passed by 94 votes to 10 by the hard-right coalition of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and many opposition lawmakers in a rare moment of political unity. The US, meanwhile, has expressed concern over reports of arrest of political figures, business leaders and journalists in Tunisia in recent days. The US State Department said that US officials were engaged with Tunisia's government at all levels in support of human rights and the freedom of expression. In recent days, Tunisian police have detained a number of leading figures with links to the opposition or to critics of Said, including prominent politicians, 2 judges, the head of Tunisia's main independent news agency outlet, and a senior labor union official. The coordinated arrests have raised fears of a wider crackdown on dissent and prompted the UN Human Rights Office to call for their immediate release.
We are deeply concerned by the reported arrests of multiple political figures, business leaders, and journalists in Tunisia in recent days. We respect the aspirations of the Tunisian people for an independent and transparent judiciary that is able to protect fundamental freedoms for all. We are engaged with the Tunisian government at all levels in support of human rights and the freedom of expression. It is a core US principle that people around the world should be able to express themselves without fear or reprisal. All governments have a responsibility to uphold this basic tenet.
Well, WHO's Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus has said that monkeypox remained a public health emergency of international concern, its highest level of alert, citing continued transmission in almost 30 countries. Monkeypox, which spreads via close contact, was declared a global health emergency by the WHO in July 2022, and the organization maintained its alert in November. The WHO's emergency committee said that while the monkeypox outbreak is effectively over in most of the countries where it began spreading, it continues to be a threat in the parts of the West and Central Africa where it's endemic.
More than 30 countries continue to report cases, and the possible under-detection and under-reporting of confirmed cases in some regions is concerning, particularly in countries where animal-to-human transmission of Mpox has been reported before. WHO continues to call on all countries to maintain surveillance for Mpox and to integrate services for prevention, preparedness, and response into national control programs, including for HIV and other sexually transmitted infections.
Well, time now to get you all the updates from the world of sports. Well, I've got Tanvi standing by. Tanvi, passing over the baton of sports news to you.
Thank you, Anil. We'll start from women's cricket first. India eased past West Indies to register second T20 World Cup win in the Women's Cricket T20 World Cup. India beat West Indies at the Newlands Cricket Ground, Cape Town by 6 wickets. For India, Deepti Sharma took 3 wickets and was declared player of the match. This helped Deepti to become the leading wicket taker for India in T20s and the first bowler from India with 100 T20 wickets in her kitty. We have a report.
India continued their perfect start to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2023 with a composed 6-wicket victory over West Indies in Cape Town. India got off to a fine start to their chase of 119 with Smriti Mandhana and Shefali Verma putting up an opening stand of 32 of 21 balls. However, they quickly lost 3 wickets to come under pressure within the first 7 overs. Captain Harmanpreet Singh and Richa Ghosh steadied the board for the Indians. Harmanpreet ended up falling after scoring 33 runs while India was still 4 runs away from victory. But Richa Ghosh ensured that the job was done by scoring the winning runs with 11 balls to spare. Richa Ghosh scored 44 of 32 balls in the end and remained unbeaten. Earlier, opting to bat first, Windies' innings were barely underway before the first wicket fell as Hayley Matthews was dismissed with the first ball of the second over. It was a dream start for seamer Pooja Vastrakar, who claimed the scalp of Windies captain after she looked to cut a delivery which was perhaps a touch short. Shaman Campbell scored 30 runs and Stephanie Taylor scored 42 runs, have managed to steady the West Indies innings somewhat and saw them through the power play. Eventually, their partnership went past 50-run mark and saw West Indies pass the first 10 overs as well. Then came the fall of the West Indies as Deepti Sharma struck twice before a run-out hampered their progress. West Indies managed to score only 118 in 20 overs for the loss of 6 wickets. For India, Deepti Sharma took 3 wickets. This helped Deepti to become the leading wicket taker for India in T20s and the first bowler from the country with 100 T20 wickets. India will next face England on 18th February in their next Pool B match. Sports Desk, DD India.
And now let's talk about Pakistan versus Ireland match. Muniba Ali, wicketkeeper batter, became the first Pakistani woman to hit 100 in a T20 international as she starred in her team's emphatic 70-run victory against Ireland in the second T20 World Cup match in Cape Town on Wednesday. Muniba's 102 of 68 included 14 fours and was complemented by Nida Dar's 33 as they put on a stand of 101 of 67 deliveries for the third wicket to power Pakistan to 165 for 5. In reply, Ireland were skittled out for 95 with Nashra Sandhu picking up 4 for 18, delivering Pakistan's first win in this World Cup. On to soccer updates now. Manchester City moved to the top of the Premier League for the first time since November with a 3-1 win at Arsenal in the biggest game of the season so far. Goals from Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland. A Bukayo Saka penalty equalised for the Gunners in the first half, inflicted Arsenal's first home defeat of the season and a huge dent in their hopes of winning the title for the first time since 2004. The defeat extended Arsenal's recent slump that has seen them claim just 1 point from their past 3 games. So, let's now talk about athletics. British athlete Kelly Hodgkinson created a world record with an 800-meter win at the ongoing World Indoor Tour event in Laveen, France. The 20-year-old clocked 1 minute 57.7 seconds to complete a distance of 800 meters. Meanwhile, Commonwealth Games champion Kenya's Mary Mora finished second. Hodgkinson improved on her time of 1 minute 57.87 seconds, which was clocked at the Copernicus Cup in Torun last week. So that's it from the world of sports for now. Back to you, Anil.
Thank you, Tanvi, for that timely update from the world of sport. Well, moving on, fans pay tributes to actress Raquel Welch as a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where flowers were placed on Wednesday after the movie star died at the age of 82. Welch first grabbed public attention with her role in the 1966 sci-fi adventure Fantastic Voyage, playing a member of the miniaturized medical team injected into the body of an injured diplomat, and memorable for the skin-tight diving suit she wore in a scene when she was attacked by antibodies. While construction workers were busy at Rio de Janeiro's iconic Samba Dome on Wednesday, putting on the final touches ahead of the city's world-famous carnival celebrations. Workers were seen raising and fixing grandstands around the 700-meter runway for this year's extravaganza. Rio workers were busy preparing the city's Samba Stadium, the Samba Dome, which will host some 30,000 revelers from around the world on 4 consecutive nights before the start of Lent. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Midday Prime. Thanks for watching. But before I go, I'll let you know, in case you like our program, do tell others. In case you don't, drop us a mail. Well, that's it from me and my entire team. Thanks for watching. Take care.